Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K.
Thanks so much for stopping by and checking out my latest video. I hope you guys are all doing well and safe and healthy. And today I have a project share for you guys. It is a linen and lace heirloom journal that I created. There are a lot of vintage laces and trims and linens in here, along with some newer trims and laces and linens. And again, I've been working on this for quite a while. There's the back side of it. I have some layers of some doilies, some crocheted doilies. There's a Battenberg doily, kind of a cotton one with a trim around the edge. There's some bits and pieces from some past projects, some table scarves. There's part of a pillowcase down here at the bottom hanging off. It is a quite large journal. The final measurements of this journal were approximately about 11.5 by 9 inches. And then it does have a little bit of a spine on it. I do have some pearls that I've ran across the page that I went over, and I did use Fabri-Tac glue. It's just kind of a trial for me to see how well they'll hold up being glued down with the Fabri-Tac glue. I just was trying that instead of the hot glue, because something like this, I think the hot glue would ooze out of it and not look so nice. So that's what I'm trying now, to see if the Fabri-Tac glue will hold down these beads. I did make some flowers with some different trims and pieces, and then I also have this little metal piece here that has an image of Marie Antoinette inside of it. And then I do have a couple of laces as my closure. And I also have this little trim right here on the corner before I open it up. It's really hard to get the whole thing in frame, but I'm going to try here. So my original plan when I was making this journal is I do have a pocket right here, and there's a pocket on the very last piece right here. And so my original plan was to go ahead and stick these file folder journals that I created earlier inside of them, but it just added too much bulk to it, so I had to take them out and put some different things in it. I will link below if you guys are interested in looking at these file folder journals better. I will link that video below so you guys can check that out. They are really nice journals. And again, I do have pockets on the inside of each cover. And so on the inside of this one, I did stick one of my little pouches in here. And again, I will try and link this video below too if you guys are curious about these. And on this one, I have some beautiful trim, some pearls. I do have another little metal piece with a bird image in it. And I had the little heart, plastic heart hanging off of it. And then inside, I stuck some different digitals. And I will also try to link the different companies that I used for the digitals. I used quite a few different companies. They're just random bits and pieces in my stash. So I'm just trying to use up stuff that I already had printed in my stash. And they're all blank on the back sides of them so that they can easily be journaled on. And that was kind of my goal with this whole linen and lace book. Fabric book, was to be able to make sure that you could actually journal with it, so all the pockets contain items that you can journal on. So inside of this pocket right here that I created, I did create just a quick little tea-dyed book. I did decorate the front of it with a digital image and some different laces, and there's pearls. And then I did sew around it, and then the rest of it just blank. And I did put this little book together just by sewing on my sewing machine. And then this next page, I do have a little charm hanging off of here on a little gourd pin. There's several layers of laces. I have, you know, some trims around the pocket. This little piece on the actual pocket that I created, it's a vintage piece that I found. And I have a couple squares of that piece, so you'll probably see that again in some future projects. So there's a trim, and then I also had this trim down here, underneath here, and I did go ahead and add some pearls on that trim. And then under there you can see the base page where I just have some lace on there. There's also some vintage trim hanging off of the side. I also have this round trim right here that were just a bunch of circles connected to each other, and then I put some fabric roses on the inside of that. And then in this pocket, and there's also some pretty vintage trim up at the top also. And on the inside, I made another little booklet, and I just decorated. This was actually a little folder digital, and I added the trims and the doilies to it. And on the inside, I just sewed some more pages so that you could journal on it very easily. And that just fits in the little pocket. And of course, there's a cute little button that I added. Then on the next page, you can see part of a large doily that I cut apart because I really love the edge of it. And so I wrapped that around the side of this page. And I also used some eyelet material to make 2 pockets right here. So there's a pocket up here and a pocket down here. And then I created a little flower here with part of an applique and then some curtains that I took apart. And I added a tag, so a large tag that I decorated. And again, you can journal. There's quite a bit of spots on the back of there to journal. And then I also created another little quick and easy booklet. Again, it's just tea-dyed paper that I added a digital, sewed around it, added some trims. And again, it's just blank on the inside, but that has quite a bit of journaling space on it. And on the next page, I have a pocket, a side pocket. And this was created with some vintage, it was like a dress or scarf. And then I went ahead and added the little pearls to it. And again, I have quite a few different kinds of vintage trims around the edging on the top and the bottom. And then this is some crochet trim that I believe my mom made for me. And I just had a little piece left. I'd used it in another project quite a while ago. So I went ahead and added that. I do have another little charm being held by a gourd pin up there, and that's a violin. And then I added just a little cute little tag again that I decorated. And the back side is blank, so you can go ahead and journal on the back side. And then also on this little snippet that I added here, I went ahead and added some more pearls to that. On this next page, I have a belly band that I created with some vintage trims. And on the inside, I added a couple of vintage photos, or they're not vintage photos, but digital photos that I printed off. And then I have a couple of more digital images of like some ledgers that again can be journaled on the back side. And I just use a cute little butterfly paper clip to hold all that stuff together. And on the belly band, I went ahead and added some pearls. Again, there's several layers of lace at the tops and the bottom. Some of them are vintage, some of them are not. Here I have a little doily flower with a flower rosette kind of in the middle, and there's a pearl in it. And then another piece of a curtain that I cut apart that's hanging off the bottom. And there's also some pretty lace on the background here too. I don't know if that's going to show up very well, but it's kind of a sheer lace with a little bit of a design in it. And again, on this one right here, I do have several layers of trims on the sides and the top. I have another little charm. This time it looks like it's like a little journal charm or an album charm. And I added some buttons. There's a cute little doily with a little flower in the middle of it. And then down here I have several layers of trims. And I have a little pocket. This pocket I created out of a corner piece from like a napkin, a cloth napkin that had some cut work done up there. And I created another little booklet. This time, instead of sewing, I ended up using some brads to put it together. And I put some bridal trim, which is vintage, or applique, and then a little bow with some beads on it in the corner. And these are all digitals in here. I think this one's Ephemera's Vintage Garden. It's from an older collection. All the pages are the same, but they are nice because there are lines in here, and so you can easily journal on it. I thought that turned out really cute. And on the next page, which is the last page, I have a little heart doily right here that I backed with some pink material, and then I made a little pink flower with a pink rose in the middle. And again, along the edges, you see all sorts of different trims. There's several layers. There's some bead trim, some more flat back pearls added to some of the trim. And this one also has a pocket at the top, so I'll pull that out first. And in this pocket, I decorated a glassine bag that I had tea dyed or coffee dyed. Can't remember, I coffee dyed or tea dyed it quite a while ago and just grabbed it out of my stash. And then on top of it, I added a image of this beautiful lady, and I went ahead and added some rhinestones to her tiara and some earrings. I thought about doing it for her necklace, but I didn't have any small enough. And in the corner, I added some snippet of a trim. There's a little rosette trim. I added the word whispers. I have some eyelash trim and then some pink lace and then a little flower up there too. And then inside that pocket, I created another little book. There's a digital piece in the background, and I had these journal cards. They were Project Life cards that I decorated, and I glued that one down. I do have a video out on that too, so if I remember, I'll try to link that too for you guys. And I ended up adding some more trim to it before I glued it down and put the eyelash trim behind it. There's a little bit of lace up there, and I did that around the whole top of that little crochet or cloth trim. And then again on the inside, it's all just tea-dyed paper that can be journaled on. And that fits inside of the glassine bag. And then in the last pocket here, I did add just some digitals. They're all of, I believe, Parisian or Paris themed ledger paper. And on the back sides they are blank so that you can journal on those. So quite a bit of space in there. I was going to add another little book or something in here, but it was starting to get really bulky. And then what I ended up putting inside of this pocket was another little booklet that I made, but this one was not as bulky as the file folder ones that I had made earlier. This one's really cute. I ended up using bits and pieces left in my stash, but I have some scrapbooking paper in the background. I have a digital image right there, and I added the word love letters. And I made some snippets a while back just with bits and pieces, and so I went ahead and layered that snippet on top. I did sew around the edge of this photo, eyelash trim, and there's also some crochet or cotton trim that I wrapped around it, and then there's also some lace trim that I used as a closure. And when you open it, this I actually made out of, the base of this book I made out of 2 envelopes. So there's a pocket here and a pocket on the back side. I added some scrapbook paper, and I added just some journal cards. There's a postcard and a journal card, and both of these I did sew around the edges. You can journal on the back sides of these. And there's still a little bit of room that you could stuff some more pieces in that envelope. And again, just coffee dyed paper or tea dyed paper. There's some ledger paper in there. I added some more scrapbook paper there and some more digital image or journal cards. And again, I sewed around each of those. Then that's the back side is pretty plain on that one. So I just wanted to thank everybody again for watching my video today of my linen and lace heirloom journal. I hope you guys were inspired. And until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day and happy crafting.